here's what they offered to help prevent this curse. The truth is nothing, they were not forthcoming till it spread into their world. Silence hid behind their doors, it's someone else's problem. But that's the attitude that will save us all, just more chaotic thinking. Never reaching out to try to help, and now the ship is sinking. Ah!
7 nights a week, hosting from the shores of Seattle and down in Reno's desert, out in Montreal, Canada, and Taos, New Mexico to Texas, and of course that Big Apple in New York. We welcome you, London, Beijing, and Jaipur, down under in Oz in New Zealand. Thank you for listening. Back across the islands, Indonesia and Hawaii, we welcome you all. This is Aware Talk Radio.
If I had a world of my own, everything would be nonsense. Nothing would be what it is, because everything would be what it isn't. And contrary-wise, what is, it wouldn't be. And what it wouldn't be, it would, you see. Said Alice while still in Wonderland. And, I got to personally ask, how many of us are still living there today? I think we might just be able to about to find out. Welcome to Aware Talk Radio. I'm Chad Lilly. Here today at a special time with a special guest. Tory Christman's joining us today here. She's an ex-Scientologist with over 30 years inside the church before escaping in 2000. And yes, I said escaped. We'll get into that. And she's held some of the highest positions within the organization, including their elite little dirty tricks department. And yes, I said dirty tricks department. We'll get into that as well. We are broadcasting live here for the next hour. However, we're not going to be taking any callers, nor is the chat room open, because we've only got an hour with Tory, and well, even if we had 5, we'd still just be scratching the surface of. And we're back here live on Aware Talk Radio. Special guest today. I know it's a special time, not usually live at this time, but here we are. Something interesting to share with you, and that'd be Tory Christman. Tory, welcome to Aware Talk Radio, and thanks for spending the time with us to speak freely today.
Thank you, Chad.
And am I getting your name correct? Is it Christman?
That's correct.
Wow. Okay. Sometimes you get lucky, Tory, let's start just in the beginning. I mean, let's begin in the beginning and start from there. How did you even first get involved in the Church of Scientology?
I read the book Dianetics. And I didn't actually read the whole book because it's pretty kooky to read, but I read about 3 chapters, and it talked about going clear or helping clear others, and that's what kind of stagged me.
I've read the book myself, and I will have to agree. There's some concepts in there that are usually foreign to people when they first come in contact with them, and it definitely gets your attention. Did you, voluntarily walk into an org and say, "Hey, I'm Tory, and I'd like to be a Scientologist"?
Oddly enough, their procedure is to pretty much. Hubbard said you have to find someone's ruin, right? It's like all of us have little buttons or something that we want to improve on, right? Mm-hmm. But for me, I actually read the book and had an argument with my dad. Packed up my books from college, quit college, and hitchhiked. This was in 1969 when people hitchhiked from Chicago to Los Angeles, because in the back of the book it said St. Hill, England, or American St. Hill in L.A. So I hitchhiked to L.A.
Wow. And you just show up at the doorsteps of this organization and say, "Hey, I want to join"?
I did, and the interesting thing, there's a book called Blink. If you haven't read it, it's a great book, but it talks about instincts and how your first instinct is often really correct. And my very first instinct, remember, I was a hippie in 1969, had just left Haight-Ashbury, and now I'm in, this organization that they wear uniforms, military uniforms. They're totally organized, which I was against organizations. They're totally corporate. It was like everything I was against. And my very first instinct, with these huge pictures of L. Ron Hubbard all around, was like, what is this weird group, right? But then my friend answered a bunch of questions and said, well, let's meet the auditors, which are the counselors. And I thought, I don't care what they do. I like these people. I want to do it.
Right. And now I ask about about you did just kind of walk in and join, and I hear that happens with some people. But others, it seems that one of their, I guess, methods of recruiting new members is with the personality test that they give outside organizations all over the country. I mean, can you share something about that as far as how they actually go out and actually look for new people to find their ruin, as you pointed out?
Yeah, it's kind of like any, cult, which is what I think Scientology is. It's not really a religion. To me, that's my own opinion on it. Sure. And also academics who study cults agree with me. It's one of the worst cults. But that's what they do. They go out and find you. People don't generally join. They go and get you. And one of their ways, they used to do the personality test. That ended up being such a disaster. Now they do what's called a stress test. And it doesn't matter. They can find something of yours that you're stressful about and go, ooh, there's a chance Scientology can help you. And for some people, I mean, luckily, thank God, the Internet's there, so people check it out and then often do not join. But they used to, before the net, it would snag people in.
Is that one of the things that Scientology promises or seeks to deliver to people with this technology, they call it? Is it to eliminate all stress, making everyone clear so they have no pain, no illness, is that pretty much the gist of it?
That was the original definition of Dianetics. It was you could erase all. He said you had two minds, an analytical mind, which is like a computer, and a reactive mind, which has all your moments of pain and or unconsciousness and losses, stuff like that. And he said you could erase that, which you can't. And he proved it because the very first clear, he called them clear when they'd erased that reactive mind. And the first clear, he had an event at the Shrine Auditorium years ago, and he turned around and he said, what's the color of my tie? Now, he'd said you'd have a perfect memory, a perfect IQ, no pains, no somatics, right? That was the original definition of Dianetics. He turned around and said, what's the color of my tie? And the person said, I can't remember it. So that sort of blew that right there, right? Mm-hmm. So then he came up with these operating state, which are the top secret OT levels, which are, what Tom Cruise, John Travolta, I did, the top level's OT8, I did up through OT7. And it's, it is, you can type in South Park plus Scientology in Google, and that is OT3. Yes. That is absolutely it.
That is, Matt and Trey are genius at bringing people
I know,
that are so ridiculous that no one could believe it if you were being serious,
when you said as much as Tommy Davis will say it isn't true, they now completely lie and say it isn't, but it is.
Now, you said something about the reactive mind, because I remember that from Dianetics. That was one of those little key things that kind of grabbed onto me. I thought, okay, that makes sense. I can see that. I know a little bit about psychology, and I can see that, sure, we've got these ingrained patterns, these engrams, whatever you want to call them. But, yeah, we're reacting on them. And I think it's interesting that he put so much energy into clearing people's reactive minds. But when you said that just now, something clicked with me. Our reactive mind is also our critical mind, our discernment, our ability to question. Yeah. And so by clearing your reactive, what he's really doing is clearing your critical thinking so that you basically are incapable of it, in my opinion. That's what I'm starting to see. And it's not just the Church of Scientology that operates this way, by the way. I've seen a lot of organizations that do it. And when people tell me not to think, I get a little concerned.
Oh, for sure. No question about it. That's why I say it's a cult, because it's brainwashing at its best. And academics who study cults say the same thing. The two worst ones are the Moonies and Scientology, because they build in these traps from day one that you can't really look or talk to people that are critical of Scientology.
And let's give them a bit about that, because I know what you mean there, but for the audience that is completely unfamiliar with kind of like the practices of Scientology, I'll see if I can just give a brief description. From what I understand is that anything you come in contact with that may be negative or that may increase, these body thetans on you, or you're going to have to be cleared of it later. And that means you're going to have to pay for auditing to clear this stuff out. Is that pretty much it?
Well, it is and it isn't. Remember, the body thetans, that's OT3 and above, you don't find out for a long time, for most people. It costs a ton of money. You know, it's a long process. Think of it as like a mind control train, and you hop on just the first one. Your plan is to get off on the next stop, right? You do the communication course, and then you think, okay, I'm done. And they're like, done? You know, you haven't even gone clear. You know, you've got to do OT1, OT2, OT3. You know, they've got this whole long thing. And they'll bring in as many people as they have to get you to go, okay, I'll go on to the next train, you know, into the next car kind of thing, right?
Right.
But it's a very tricky thing because you don't find out about the body thetans until OT3, which is way high up there. So most people, yes, it is a way of snagging people in, but they'll just do it with anything. They can say, you know, no, you don't want to talk to these critical people because that will make you, what they do is they declare someone like me who's speaking out right now to you a suppressive person, which means I'm holding everyone down. That's what they feel. Now, the truth is what you said. With critical thinking, you can look at both sides. I always say to people, don't believe me. You know, start reading. Go look on the net. Type in Scientology. Read both sides. Make up your own mind, right? And ask yourself this, why can't Scientology say make up your own mind?
Be First Inc. is proud to sponsor Aware Talk Radio.
I thought me a puppet, strings you could pull to dance.